Hi, I'm Charlene Murdoch. I'm with the Campbell County Chamber of Commerce, and we are here today talking to candidates who are running for office in the general election. Of course, that is on November the 8th. So we are with Dr. Ian Swift, who is running for the board at the hospital. And Dr. Swift, thank you for running, because it isn't a job for those that are meek. And you have to put yourself out there a bit. So, we'll go right into questions. We're going to hear about some issues that are pending at in our healthcare system. So we'll just get right to it.
Sure.
All right. So thinking about the economic climate of our community, there have been a lot of questions. Do you feel the hospital should continue to grow its physical plant despite challenging economic times?
Yeah, well, first thing I'll say is thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts with you and the viewers that choose to tune in and listen to this. I think it's an excellent way for us to get our message out. Yeah, these are difficult economic times for all of us, not just in this town. I hope nationwide we're doing a little bit better, but this town's going to struggle for a bit. I think what you're referring specifically to is this new hospital project we have coming up that's well known, this $31 million project. And clearly hospital revenue from the tax is going down. I'll urge people to realize, though, that this big project is not an aesthetic project. This is a project that is necessary to improve the quality and patient care at our hospital. The efficiency has declined. This hasn't been remodeled or revamped since the 80s. And I can tell you, technology is better than the 80s. I don't know what kind of telephone you had in the 80s, but things have changed, and it is affecting the quality of our patient care. And if we don't augment this, I can tell you that Campbell County Health will not be able to offer the same high level of medical care that the residents of Campbell County deserve. So yes, we need to look at this project. We need to eliminate anything that is absolutely not necessary, but I think we should realize it's more than this, an aesthetic program. We're not just doing a facelift. We're actually improving the quality of care, which will save money. As the quality is better and more efficient, price goes down. Waste is decreased and cost is decreased.
Well, and I was going to ask that about the efficiencies. Are there a couple of examples of efficiencies?
Yeah, I mean, now I can tell
provide?
you, I see patients in wheelchairs that are not ready to be in a wheelchair, that are fairly sick, and they're going on a long ride from their room all the way downstairs to a location to do an x-ray or some type of blood draw or something that could be done in a much more efficient fashion, where we don't have all of these medical staff escorting them through the hallways, which might be contrary to their overall health, decreasing their patient experience, potentially making them more at risk for other problems. Where if we can have a more efficient model, then definitely their care will be better.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for giving those examples. So, of course, we've one of the hot topics in the election this year is potential conflict of interest. So can you talk about, as a physician especially, how that impacts your ability to avoid conflict of interest in serving on the hospital board? And if, and when those conflicts might come up, how will you deal with those?
Sure. Everybody that serves on a board will have some level of conflict. You need to be open and honest with yourself and with the other board members. The only problem when conflict of interest arises and it ends up being a difficulty is when you're not being honest and not recusing yourself from those particular votes or those specific issues. I can tell you the American Hospital Association, which is the governing body of all hospitals, including ours, actually recommends that 30 to 50% of a board be medical. And the reason is, you need a rudder for this board. If this board was to function without medical advice and without actual medical representatives, it'd be like a ship without a rudder trying to get across the ocean. You need some guidance. And it takes a while to introduce that type of medical knowledge to a new board member that's not medical. So you need a combination of people. And believe me, I've sat on boards, in fact, some big hospital boards, where I've had to do exactly that and say, this topic is too close to my area. We need to eliminate my vote, and I may offer you a little advice, but I'm going to leave the room and let you handle it from here. And I can tell you, no matter what your specialty is, no matter what your job is or occupation, there'll be some level of conflict if you're a hospital board member.
Okay, well, thank you. When we think about healthcare and improving healthcare in our community, what healthcare specialties are we lacking? What still needs to be recruited for the community? And what role should the hospital play in that?
Well, without a doubt, here across the country, we still need quite a bit of primary care. You know, people need to get into their doctor. The whole idea of the walk-in clinic serving as your primary care is a big issue, big mistake. I mean, for one mild problem, one mild sinus infection, something like that, great. That's what the walk-in clinic is all about. But establishing care with your primary care physician is essential. So we need more primary care. The other area we're really lacking is mental health professionals. Without a doubt, we know in Gillette that this is a big issue. Teen suicide is a big problem. Drugs, depression, we need to be more aggressive in this. All of us do, and the hospital needs to lead the way with the schools at identifying and going after this area, or this devastating problem is going to continue.
Okay, thank you. Do you support physicians working for the hospital directly as they're doing that recruiting or even moving them within, transitioning within the community? And can you talk about why you might feel one way or the other about that?
Number one, I think I have a lot of experience to answer this question because I worked for the hospital for 4 years prior to going out on my own. When I came here, I'd been in private practice for 14 years. I was fiercely entrepreneurial and sort of was used to running my own practice. I came to Gillette and I figured that it would be fine to work for the hospital for a while. They were very interested in that option. I worked with them. It was a very enjoyable time. I learned a lot. I think I provided excellent care. And when it came time to sort of do my own thing, I had a very good conversation with Andy Fitzgerald, the CEO, and I went out in private practice. And I honestly think the hospital supports either way. And I certainly felt as though there was no animosity. It was a very amicable separation. And I think that's great that the hospital is willing to bring people in that want either role, if they want to be in private practice or they feel more comfortable in an employed situation. So I think that inherent flexibility offers a lot of options to incoming physicians and mid-levels that may want to either be employed or on their own.
Okay, well, thank you. And as we wrap up here, we're giving candidates the opportunity to tell us a little bit about themselves and how they would differentiate themselves from those others running in a pretty full race.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a full race with excellent people, excellent candidates. And you mentioned earlier that you have to have some courage to be a candidate, and I think that's absolutely accurate. I have been living in Gillette for approximately 5 years. I live here with my wife and her child. I've got 3 daughters, beautiful daughters, who are now in Laramie in college, and I'm quite proud of them. How I differentiate myself is I've been a physician for 24 years. I've served on multiple medical boards. I offer a large, vast background of medical experience, both with medical economics as well as delivery of great patient care. And I think I can bring this to the board, and I think I can help navigate and develop a culture in our entire hospital situation, actually the entire healthcare situation, from birth to end of life. And that's really what this is all about.
All right, well, thank you very much for being here again. Good luck with your race. And we'll encourage voters to go to the polls on November 8th. You will be voting in the general election. So we have some local races, certainly some state races and national races. Thank you very much.